Revolving libraries need to be supplied for dementia units on admission, with at least a third being able to read and more than a third wanting to read. They need to be able to be given this opportunity with books and material to be able to read, digest, absorb and learn at a pace that they wish. Now, of course, it's very different, the material that dementia residents are going to be able to read, and that needs to be taken into consideration. Most dementia residents that do read and want to read, like a copy of the newspaper, their local rag and the one they've been used to reading, their favourite women's magazines for the women, Women's Day, Women's Weekly here in New Zealand, and the men love the big photographic books on tractors, trains, classic cars, etc., and pictures of New Zealand. That's always a favourite. So this setup in a revolving library would be such a great asset for these people. Books are too difficult, of course, but the other material that I've mentioned will be well appreciated by dementia residents. Now, even if they can't read, even if they can only read the titles or even a few words in the title of the magazine article or the book, still it's a help. It's all a help. All of it just gets the cognition going and keeps them in tune with being able to read enough. If it's not the newspaper, then at least the subtitles of their favourite song, karaoke song on the smart TV, to be able to read that as it goes across the screen. That's a favourite. If not that, to read the names along the corridor of all the rooms, and if not that, at least their own name. All of these things, it takes cognition to be able to keep all of these wheels turning, and reading is the way to be able to do that and maintain the skill. Now, in terms of system and how to go about it and what sort of books, well, firstly, they don't need to be brand new, of course. They don't even really need to be of library standard. In fact, old books from libraries, older books from Salvation Army, garage sales, house sales are good, or magazines, not books, but magazines and photographic books. If they can be donated, that's the best way to the dementia unit. Donations are the best way, and not to expect that you lend this book to the dementia resident and then it comes back in the same standard that you gave it out, because it probably won't, because pages may be torn, or it might be, wet from having gone in the sink or whatever. Anything can happen. It's not that all dementia residents are rough on books. In fact, most are good with them, but there'll be the one or two that get hold of them and then just do whatever they wish with them. So that really can't be prevented. So the books on the, say, revolving trolley, this is the best way to go about it, to get a big stack of this material I've explained on the trolley. There does need to be a librarian that operates the service, say once a week, with the trolley full of the lovely newspapers, even old newspapers, especially the Saturday Press. If they haven't read it, they'll love a copy. They probably won't mind an old copy of the Saturday Press because it's their favourite. The magazines, the big photographic books, the classic cars, etc., sort of semi-organised. So you've got your women's magazines in one place, your house and garden and flowers and all the rest of it, also favourites amongst the ladies in another area, women's magazines, classic cars, books in another for the area for the men. So you've got your piles going, and then you just go around the unit. Now the librarian could be either a volunteer, an actual librarian, or a carer or staffer at the dementia unit, or a relative. Actually, that's a good idea as well. So all that needs to happen is once a week, this big trolley goes around the unit. All this material is donated. These books and magazines are donated. Okay, so they're on the trolley, and then you go around once a week and you give it to the resident and lend it to the resident, and the next week you can either go around the rooms and pick up the books, or they may have them to give them back to you, but they probably won't remember that. Go around the rooms and just leave them with 1 or 2 books so that they've got something to read. If it's obviously at the top of the pile and they're still reading it, just keep with that. Ask permission from the charge nurse if you can just go around the rooms, or if maybe the carers can give you back the books that the person is not reading so you can keep it going. And more donations, the better, so that you can keep the trolley full, as some of them get torn or misplaced or whatever. So this way, look what a wonderful system that is. What a wonderful system. Then these dementia residents have material to read, lovely magazines, beautiful books. They can just sit at the dining table and look at the lovely pictures of New Zealand. Like, even if they don't read, that's okay. They can look at the pictures of New Zealand at their own time. They can look at the classic cars, the men, and talk about the classic cars with each other, the farms that they used to farm, all the farming, books on New Zealand. New Zealand farming is huge, and there's lots of wonderful books on farming. So in this way, the residents can be occupied and entertained and keep their literary skills and cognition going in a system that's not that too difficult to arrange. It just needs to be considered for these wonderful people who don't have a voice but would like to have a voice, even though they haven't got a voice, and much of their voice is written in these books, and that's why I've written them, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise. So please read. I mean, they're a great read, all about the wonderful dementia residents. And thank you for your likes and your viewing. Thank you.